Everyone, Blockchain Bernie here with my latest episode, broadcasting live from fabulous Las Vegas. Liquid staking. We have a lot of liquid staking options on the Solana chain. We have Marinade, we have Jito, we have Solblaze and JPool. Those are four of the most important ones. There are a few more, but those are the large ones. And I'll dive into the details today and give you just an overview on how they all compare, what are their specific strengths and weaknesses. Should you do liquid staking on Solana rather than staking to a single validator? And yeah, make sure to watch this all the way to the end. And hey, thank you guys, thank you. The number of comments, the number of likes and everything on this YouTube channel has really picked up, and that is likely because I promised you points. We have that points program up on the Xandeum website. Here's the Xandeum website, and if you go to points.xandeum.org, you know, that's our points app, and there's so many things that you could earn points with, and it's really, really easy. All you have to do is, you know, do these things that are out there. For example, like this video, destroy that like button because it gives you points. Each and every video that you like, each and every video that you leave me a comment about will give you points, and that's just awesome. All right, let's dive into liquid staking though, and let's find out whether liquid staking is a good thing or whether you should not do it. All right, so let's go into it. So here, for example, I have my wallet. So you see my wallet here, I hope, do you? Not so sure. Let's check it out. Yeah. See my wallet here. So I have some Jito Sol in here. I have some Solana in here. So this was liquid staked to the Jito validator. I did that yesterday night. Their website for liquid staking was down for like half a day, but they fixed it swiftly. I went to their Discord and everything was fixed, and I was able to liquid stake my Jito there. But let's start with the largest one, and let's go to DeFi Llama, by the way. So DeFi Llama, I mentioned that website a few times. That gives you all the stats, independent stats in DeFi, right? And those are independent because for DeFi Llama to show any stats on their website, you would need to connect your smart contract to the DeFi Llama smart contract, so they really prove on chain that they have this TVL, right? The TVL, what it's all about, it's the total value locked. So that is the amount of money that people have put into these pools here, right? And when we look at DeFi Llama, we see number one is Marinade, right? And they have two different things here. We can expand that. So it's $1.8 billion. Guys, can you imagine that? $1.8 billion locked in Marinade liquid staking. So that's a lot of money, I feel. And most of them is in liquid staking, as you see here. But there's also $674 million in Marinade native, which is not really liquid staking. It's a kind of thing that I think is not really great. For me, it's like a broken thing. And you know, I'm just coming off of a call because we are talking to all the guys from the Solana ecosystem, right? And I talked to someone from Singapore, currently working out of New York, and we were talking about Marinade native, and he said, well, that's a piece of scheisse, right? He used the English word, I used the German word for you, because I don't want to get demonetized by YouTube. But hey, this means it puts you 144 stake accounts into your wallet, and then it's your opportunity to manage all that crap. It is a crazy thing. But, you know, let's dive into it, right? So we have Marinade, we have Jito as number two, 1.64 billion. Wow, that is also a hell of a lot of money, and you know, they might flip Marinade with these two things combined, right? So with the liquid staking, they've already flipped Marinade, but Marinade has that Marinade native, but you know, they're about to flip that, as you can see there. And then we have a lot of others, and we have Solblaze here with liquid staking, $444 million. That's also a great success. And we have JPool somewhere around here. That's 59 million, right? So now let's look into how all these pools look like, right? So let's go to, for example, Marinade, right? Marinade.finance. Boom, we're here. All right, you click on optimize your staking. That's their app. And got some rewards here. And let's connect the wallet. Okay, Phantom wallet. Accept cookies. So now you see this is kind of a, in my eyes, it's a kind of a convoluted interface. They have these tabs here, staking, governance, rewards, and more. So what you see here, I have 40 Sol staked, and they are currently staked with Jito, right? But Marinade is showing me these here, right? And then they show my 40 Jito Sol. They say it's a 7.95% APY. And you know, Jito's USP, unique selling proposition, is that they are the first pool that only delegates to validators that have those extra MEV rewards. Just like, for example, the Xandeum Validator here, right? So that's their USP. So it results in a 7.95% APY. For me here, and I have 4.97 Sol in my wallet that are not earning any yield yet, so I could stake them, right? And then they recommend I could do liquid staking with Marinade at 7.99, and then they say, okay, staking rewards is 8.11, and then I have the MNDE incentives APY, that's coming on top of that, that's 0.37%. And then they deduct their performance fee here, right? So that yields us 7.99, and then they could do the native staking with 8.48. So they take the 148 best performing validators, and they balance it automatically. But you know, 148 validators, and with their native staking, they put all these 148 stake accounts right into your wallet. It's a real mess, right? So yeah, that's what they're offering here. And then they're telling me, hey, if you do the liquid staking, right? And I'm probably here on the Marinade website because I'm interested in liquid staking, right? Because liquid staking is great. I get my LST, my liquid staking token, and then I can participate in DeFi with that, right? So I could earn another yield with that rewards, or with that liquid staking token that I'm getting. The rewards here with their MNDE is relatively low. It's only 0.37%. So yeah, this is also not so really nice. And then they say, okay, I earn rewards with their MNDE token. And the MNDE token is supposed to be a governance token, right? So I earn MNDE, and I'm supposed to participate in governance of that whole stake pool, right? And I thought, like, okay, I have MNDE, I can do governance. So I'd have to go to the DAO, right? So there's that realms with the Marinade DAO, right? Then I land there. Then it tells me I have 0 voting power. I thought, like, well, guys, you promised me governance, so now I have 0 voting power, even though I have like 5,000 MNDE in my wallet. Well, then it's like you'd have to lock up your MNDE in order to get voting power, right? Then they just use the Realms GUI for me to lock it up. And Realms is asking me for how long do you want to lock it up? And I have to know I have to lock it up for at least 30 days. Otherwise, no voting power. But that's not shown in the Realms GUI, right? So the whole user guidance there is really, really, really abysmal, right? It's crazy, right? And then I locked it up for 30 days, and then the only thing I can do is vote in some DAO proposals that don't affect me, right? Because I cannot, with their old governance that they had, I could use my MNDE and direct some of the pool's stake and delegate it to our own validator, the Xandeum validator. I can't do that anymore. I can just participate in general DAO proposals, and with my 5,000 MNDE, I can't make a difference, right? So there's no way I can direct my stake to my validator or any other validator for that matter with the MNDE. So for me, the MNDE is quite worthless. I mean, if you think otherwise, if you're staking to Marinade and you feel like MNDE is great, let me know down in the comments. But for me, it didn't help me really much. So to me, Marinade is one of the most convoluted things here. It's really tough to figure out what's happening here. And then here's the governance. Let's look into governance. And then this is all really confusing. And then they say how it works. And they say DAO controlled stake, right? 40% of Marinade stake delegation is controlled by MSOL 20%. So that works. If I put something into MSOL, I can direct it to my validator. It's the directed stake, right? And I've had another video for that. It's right up here. Let me do this here. It's right up here. Oops. And if you watch this live, there's nothing there, right? Because Jennifer has to put that link up there, and that can only happen after the live stream has ended, and then it's going to be a recording. So for the next few hours, there's nothing there. But if you watch it later, well, there's going to be that link there to my other video where I talk about the directed stake, right, on Marinade. So that's great, but then, in order to grasp all this here, it's 20% by MSOL, and then they say, and MNDE, another 20%, right? But that's a lie, right? It is really a lie. Right here, so the MSOL 20% and MNDE another 20%. That's a lie because, I cannot really direct my stake with that. It's just a majority decision, and the majority will always decide for what they propose, and they have a certain delegation strategy to delegate to those 148 best validators, and there's just no way I can change that or influence that, right? In practice, right? So yeah, I feel it's kind of a lie. All right, so that's Marinade. Yeah, I feel it's not a great way. And also, it's delegating to 148 validators, and what does that mean? You're over diversifying, right? You want to diversify your stake when you do liquid staking, but there's a lot of research there that anything more than 8 to 12 of anything doesn't add anything to the diversification, at least for risk diversification, right? Your risk is completely diversified out if you have 8 or 12 validators that you stake to. But what happens when you have 148? First of all, you cannot track them all. And you might say, okay, I don't need to track them because Marinade does it for me. So if you trust those guys from Marinade, that's fine. But there's no way for you to track 148 because it's just way too much effort. And also you're giving away APY, right? Because not 148 have that high APY and high track record and stuff like that. It's likely a smaller figure, right? So yeah, that's Marinade. And to me personally, it doesn't convince me to liquid stake a lot of my SOL. And right now I'm just staking it directly to that one validator, and that's our Xandeum validator, right? So let's look into Jito, right? There is the other side, Jito .network / staking, I believe. Let's check it out. Yeah, that's Jito's staking site here. And let me connect my wallet here. Phantom, boom. All right. So yeah, I have another like 5 Sol here that I could stake, right? And then I get 4.4 for Jito Sol for that. I could just click convert to Jito Sol, boom, I'm done. And then I can say unstake. So I have my 36 Jito Sol here. So I could immediately unstake them via Jupiter, or I can do a delayed unstake. Oh, here's the delayed one, right? So this is the immediate, and I will get how much? Oh, they don't tell me, huh? They don't really tell me how much Sol I will get. Oh, here, 39.93, right? So I originally put in 40, right? So if I do that now, after a few hours, you know, I will be at a loss here just due to fees. And there's some slippage, and there's withdrawal fees, and there is pool fees, and all that kind of stuff. I could do it delayed. Even if I did it delayed, it's a little bit more, right? So this is like 39.92, and here it's 39.96, but I would still be at a loss after like 6 hours or so, having it staked. Yeah, so that's how Jito works, and you know, it's refreshingly simple, right? So it is way simpler than what we had with the Marinade GUI. We have some governance here. So there's the JTO token that I could use for governance, but likely, you know, I just can't direct my stake either, right? So everything will be just delegated to the best performing validators. They also have a large number of validators. So we have that same issue here of over diversification. And yeah, simpler interface, less functionality probably, but they have 2 things going for that. One is the simple interface. I really love it. And the other is they have a unique point, because they are delegating only to those validators that have employed the Jito Solana software, right? Just like the Xandeum validator. The Xandeum validator gives you extra MEV rewards, because that's what Jito does. They do MEV. So that's a big plus, right? So I think, well, Jito Sol is probably among the ones that we have right now. They are a good choice. But would they convince me to do liquid staking? Probably not, because it's still over diversified, and yeah, and you know why? You know, I'd rather grab my high APY, and will they be able to capture the additional APYs from others? No, they won't. They can just capture individual validators. But you know what's happening these days? There are validators out there that have their single validator liquid staking, right? So if you go to validators like, for example, Lane, you could do liquid staking with Lane, and he gives you a liquid staking token in return, but that is only delegated to Lane's validator, right? What advantage does that have? Well, you have that liquid token, so you could participate in DeFi. You can unstake anytime rather than just using one validator. You'd have to wait for the cooldown, which can be, you know, a day or two, depending on where you are in the specific epoch. So it has advantages to have those single validator stake pools, and you can earn extra rewards, right? Because you get that liquid staking token, that LST, and then you can have it work for you in DeFi, or you could even sell it, right? No, not, I mean, you have that liquid staking token, you can use it in DeFi, and in addition to that, many of these single validator pools, they give you a rewards token, right? And that rewards token, you could even sell that or use it for governance, just as as we've seen in Marinade and Jito. So it is extra APY, right? So none of these pools that I've seen here now, none of these are able to delegate to a validator using their single validator pool, because that gives the extra rewards, right? So we can go from like 8% if we utilize those liquid staking tokens from the single validator pools. We can go up to 9, 10, 11, 12% just by harnessing these rewards token that the single validators have, right? So Jito, Marinade, all these, they can only directly stake and delegate to a validator, but they can't capture the rewards that that individual validator might offer through their liquid staking token, right? So again, that would be a reason for me rather to not use even Jito for my liquid staking, right? And when it goes to Solblaze and JPool, there are even fewer reasons to do that, right? With Solblaze, yeah, they have their rewards token. The rewards token is listed, the BLZE. It has a really low market cap these days of like $20 million dollars, and it doesn't have much utility and stuff like that, right? So the whole Blaze thing is kind of a, yeah, it doesn't have unique things that Jito has or that Marinade has, right? So yeah, it wouldn't be my first choice either, I would put it. And the JPool guys, they do a lot of extra tools. So there is that svt.one solution, svt.one. You can try it out in the browser. A smart validator toolkit. So that's a great tool. I'm super grateful for all of that. But if you look into DeFi Llama, you see they have a really low stake, low TVL in their stake pool. They are, you know, not really one of the top things in liquid staking. And again, they don't have any like specific unique selling proposition there, right? So what does that all mean? You know, I can just reaffirm that I feel liquid staking is broken. So watch my video up here. Liquid staking is broken. And I'll reiterate that here. And there's none of the pools there that are great. So how would a great pool look like for me? So I'll tell you that right now. But before that, don't forget to hit that like button, smash it, destroy it, leave me a comment, and subscribe to that channel and hit the bell notification in order to not miss any of the future videos. So how would a liquid staking pool look like that I would actually use, and I would use my Sol to put it into that liquid staking pool? So it should have, first of all, not have over diversification, right? Just have, you know, an amount of and over diversification also creates a lot of transactions in the background. They all cost money and transaction fees, and they are wasting APY for you and for us and for the stakers, right? So that's number one. I want to have a liquid staking pool that doesn't over diversify, right? I want to have a liquid staking pool that's well established in DeFi, has a lot of liquidity, obviously, and things like that, right? I want to have a liquid staking pool that captures extra rewards. So Jito is great to capture those MEV extra rewards. But as you know, we here at Xandeum, we're building that scalable storage layer for the Solana chain. And the technical docs for that are going to be out there soon. So I would love to see a liquid staking pool that's delegating only to validators that capture both the MEV rewards and the extra storage rewards that come from Xandeum. And I feel the market size for the storage, right, where we can do some real Web3 is way, way larger than MEV is, right? So if I would want to have a liquid staking pool, I want to have a pool that only delegates to validators that also capture that extra storage rewards. Wouldn't that be awesome, right? And then also, I would love to see a liquid staking pool that captures the extra rewards that all these validators have, right? There's about 20 or more validators out there right now that have a single validator liquid staking token, right? That liquid staking token gives extra rewards. And with all these liquid staking pools that I mentioned, Marinade, Jito, all the others, they don't capture these extra rewards. They only stake normally to these validators. They delegate to these validators the usual way with what's called a stake account. So they cannot capture the extra rewards that are coming from these LSTs that each of these validators are offering. So if I had a liquid staking pool that captures these as well, right? And then we're at like 10, 11% APY plus the storage rewards, right? So we will be at really, really high APYs. And that would be a staking pool, a liquid staking pool that I would trust my soul to, right? So that's what I feel is missing on the Solana chain. Stay up to date. You know, we're building that storage layer, and most of our team is busy developing that and writing the documentation for that. But I'm not sure whether we might resist the urge to fix that liquid staking here, right? It would help us so much. It would be a real synergy with a storage layer, right? Because we're capturing the extra rewards that come out of that storage layer. And it would be an exciting project. At least we're internally thinking whether we can do that here, whether we find some providers that help us set that up. And if that's coming, I would say that's a really, really exciting thing that we can offer through, you know, being the ones that are building that scalable storage layer, right? All right, guys, I think this was a long video. I try to make it, you know, as understandable as possible and explain some complex things to you. But if there's any questions and you couldn't follow at any point, or you have a different opinion, or you just have the same opinion and want to tell me, hey, Bernie, that's what I always thought, leave me a comment, right? And each and every comment will give you some points, as you know. All right, but for today, thanks so much for